The SAVE Act requires voter ID to be presented at voting booths whenever you're voting at U.S. elections. But why are Democrats being going against this? Because we need ID when we're boarding a plane, driving a car, and really doing anything in the U.S. But we don't use ID when it comes to vote and securing our elections. That's not for democracy. That's against democracy. That's allowing people who have no interest within the United States to influence our elections, which is against democracy. It's a totally bad thing. And Democrats are supportive of it for no reason. And there's, you know, Representative Mark Pocan, okay? He says there seems to have been confusion about the Save America Act. If it becomes law, you will not be able to vote with your driver's license alone. You'd need a passport, which he says more than half of Americans don't use that and costs at least $130, or a birth certificate plus your photo ID with matching names, which nearly 70 million married women lack, or military service papers. He's voting no. Okay. First of all, fine. Not all Americans have passport, but that's not a requirement. Remember, importantly, or you don't need a passport. You can have the passport or a birth certificate plus your photo ID. Now, he says, okay, well, most married women don't have matching birth certificate with their legal last name. There's something called a marriage certificate. Okay, that can be shown with the birth certificate. That is allowed to be shown. And somehow this guy conveniently forgets that a marriage certificate exists, probably because they want to destroy the institution of the nuclear family. But besides that, he's leaving out important parts and taking out context that really matters, right? So no, it's not like women cannot vote. No, women can vote. They just need to show their marriage certificate and birth certificate with photo ID. And really, if you want to make it a thing, you can make it so that men do that too. It's not a hard thing to um, get around, right? And he's making a big deal out of nothing. So really, what he's saying is, if we make it so that men and women need to show their marriage certificate plus birth certificate and photo ID, then he would be supportive of it. But I don't think that's the case, because then he would say something about, oh, millions of Americans won't be able to vote for some reason, but he will not state the reason, and he'll count illegal immigrants as Americans, which they're obviously not. Um, and it's really insane how the Democrats have been going on. Like here, Representative Anna Paulina Luna uh, posted a picture of all the things that you need to have an ID for, but the only thing where you don't need an ID is voting. That's insane. Joining a gym, you need to show your ID. Participating in political events, you need to show ID. But voting, you don't need to show that. That's ridiculous. And Democrats are going out of their way to support illegal immigration. Why? They're illegal. They're criminals. 100% of illegal immigrants are criminals because they broke immigration law. That's the fact. Okay? And then they eventually influence our elections, which is against democracy. That's not protecting democracy at all. That allows for tyranny. That's not democracy. It allows for invasion of foreign influence in our elections. How can any Democrat defend that? There's no. And so I saw a post on X where they were saying that if you are a MAGA Republican, or if you're just a Republican or conservative, you are now apparently supportive of anti-woman voting laws, for example, which is not true, by the way. And what if you're a Democrat? What are you? You are part of the party that put slavery into law, that supported slavery, that were against the Union, that were supportive of Jim Crow, who didn't have a black representative in the legislature until the 80s or 90s. You're the party of that, and you have the gall to try to lecture Republicans on racism when you're part of the party that literally supports the institution of slavery and racism. We are not right, like nothing of the Save Act has anything to do with legal immigrants. It does not violate any legal immigrant right to vote because it's not their right to vote. Unless they're a citizen, they don't have a right to vote. Okay, if they're on a visa or a green card, they don't have the right to vote. So it doesn't um you know violate any rights of illegal immigrants to vote. It also surely doesn't violate any rights of illegal immigrants because illegal immigrants broke the law, right? And they definitely don't have a right to vote in that case. So there's some mix matching going on here that's a little bit confusing. On the other hand, so people were saying that the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny got the most viewership out of everything, or out of all the halftime shows. That's wrong, okay? In 2025, Kendrick Lamar got 133.5 million viewers. In 1993, Michael Jackson got 133.4 million viewers. 2024, Usher got 129.3 million viewers. In 2026, Bad Bunny got 128.2 million viewers. That's down. That's absolutely not at the top. In fact, there's a chart that shows that at halftime, millions of people turned off their TVs, turned off the Super Bowl during halftime, and then it went up again. The graph showed it spiked up again after the halftime ended. That's the truth. And really that says a lot about what the media trying to say. The media's trying to say, oh, Bad Bunny got the most views. No, he didn't. In fact, he got a very low viewership compared to recent years. It's down, and more people turn off their TV at halftime, and most likely put it on to the TVUSA All American Halftime Show. And by the way, voter ID is overwhelmingly popular with literally everyone. White people, 85% approve. Latino, 82% approve. Black, 76% approve. And by the way, this is according to CNN statistics. CNN statistics. This is not any right-leaning statistics. These are left-leaning statistics that say Latinos, 82% approve of voter ID, and black people also 76% voter ID approval. And Republicans 95% favor in voter ID, and Democrats 71. So it's actually popular on the Democrat side a little bit too. But the mainstream media would also highlight it's overwhelmingly popular among all Americans, across races, across demographics. But mainstream media won't tell you that. So there you go.